In the ruins of a sun that never set, we learned to breathe again. The world had not seen night for 100 years. The sun, once our life-giver, had turned into a curse that refused to fade. Its golden light was no longer warm or beautiful. It was constant, blinding, and cruel. Cities had melted. Oceans had boiled into shallow, glittering mirrors. The air shimmered with heat and silence. Among the ruins of what was once called Solara, small colonies of humans lived beneath thick metal domes. They had learned to hide from the light, to breathe recycled air, to dream only in the memory of darkness. Inside one such dome lived Mira, a young woman with silver eyes, born in the age of endless day. She had never seen the stars. Mira worked as a light engineer, maintaining the filters that kept their dome cool and dim. Every morning, she looked through the tinted glass ceiling and whispered, "If you had just set once, just once, maybe we could rest." The colony of Orion was dying slowly. The filters were breaking faster than they could be fixed. The air was growing thin, and the crops, grown in artificial soil, had turned pale and weak. People walked slower, spoke less, and dreamed only of rain. Children had never felt wind or shadows. Mira often sat beside her grandfather, Eldrick, who was one of the oldest survivors of the world before the never-setting sun. His skin was thin like paper, but his eyes still held a strange kind of peace. "Eldrick, we used to breathe real air once, Mira. The kind that moved, that smelled of rain and earth." Mira, softly, "I can't even imagine that." "Eldrick, you will. Someday, the sun will fall asleep again. And when it does, you'll breathe like we used to." She smiled faintly, though she didn't believe it. The sun had burned for generations without pause. It was said to have been caught in its own pride, a star that refused to die. But even the proudest stars, Eldrick said, had hearts that could break. One afternoon, as Mira was repairing an air pipe near the dome's outer layer, she saw something move in the light. At first, she thought it was a reflection. But then the shape grew clearer, a figure walking across the molten sand without protection. She gasped. Impossible. No one could survive out there. The heat would burn through skin in seconds. The figure stumbled and fell near the outer gate. Mira rushed to the control panel and opened the chamber door, dragging the stranger inside. He was half-conscious, his skin burned but alive. His clothes were made of strange metallic fabric, unlike anything she had seen. When he opened his eyes, they glowed faintly blue. "Stranger. The light, it's everywhere." "Mira, you shouldn't be alive. How did you survive out there?" "Stranger. Because I'm not from here." The stranger's name was Kale. He said he came from beneath the surface, deep underground, from a place where people still lived in shadows and cool air. No one in Orion believed him. They had long assumed the underground was nothing but molten rock. But Kale showed them fragments of ancient tech, small devices that could generate breathable air and cool temperatures. Mira listened closely as he spoke. "Kale, the sun wasn't supposed to do this. It was altered long ago. Your ancestors tried to harness its energy forever. They wanted endless light, endless power. Mira, and instead, they killed the balance." "Kale." "Exactly. Now the systems that fed the sun stabilizer are breaking down. If we don't stop it, this planet will burn completely." He looked at Mira with quiet determination. "Kale, we're trying to reach the old control vault, the one built in the Sunspire. It can reset the system." Mira had heard of the Sunspire only in legends, a giant tower that touched the sky, built to speak to the sun. "Mira, no one can reach it. It's across the dead plains." "Kale, then we'll find a way. Because if we don't, there'll be nothing left to breathe." Mira decided to go with Kale. Eldrick didn't stop her. He only pressed a small metal pendant into her hand. "Eldrick, this belonged to your mother. She believed the Sunspire was real. She went looking for it once. Mira, she never came back. Eldrick, then maybe now, through you, she will." So Mira and Kale set out, wearing reflective suits and carrying limited oxygen pods. Outside the dome, The world was a desert of glass and flame. Rivers had turned to vapor trails. Mountains shimmered like melted bronze. They walked through what used to be cities, bones of towers and skeletons of machines. The heat made the air hum like a song without words. At night, if it could be called night, the sun merely dimmed to a softer gold, never truly sleeping. Mira wondered what real darkness felt like. Kale smiled sadly. Kale, down below, we call it the breath of the world. It's when you can finally hear your heart. After days of travel, they reached a vast expanse filled with countless broken mirrors standing upright. Each mirror reflected the never-setting sun, multiplying its light until the entire horizon shimmered in pain. Kale shielded his eyes. This used to be the solar field of the ancients. They built it to store sunlight. But now it's just madness. Mira could barely see. Every direction was blinding. Then she noticed something. Between two shattered mirrors stood a metallic arch, half buried in sand.
A door.
They entered and found a dark corridor below, leading into the earth. The tunnel led them to a forgotten underground station. Old machines still hummed faintly, powered by energy that refused to die. Kale connected one of his devices to an ancient terminal. Holograms flickered. Maps, coordinates, data from centuries past. Kale, this confirms it. The sun spire still exists, but the energy surge around it is unstable. Anyone who gets close risks vaporization. Mira, then how do we reach it? Kale, we rebuild the breath engine. It was designed to balance temperature and restore atmospheric flow. But we'll need its core, hidden beneath the ruins of Solara Prime. Mira frowned. That's on the other side of the mirror fields. Kale nodded.
Yes.
Where the light is strongest. When they finally reached Solara Prime, Mira froze. The once great capital was now a golden skeleton, a city melted into glass towers and twisted bridges. In the center stood a huge crater glowing with white fire. The ground pulsed with light like a living thing. Kale, that's the heart of the old world. The breath engine should be below it. As they descended through broken tunnels, Mira began hearing faint whispers, voices echoing through the static of the machines. Mira, do you hear that? Kale, the system might still be running. It records the memories of those who worked here. They reached the core chamber. Inside, a single sphere hovered above molten light, the breath core. When Mira touched it, visions flooded her mind. Images of people, cities, laughter, rain, stars. And then her mother's face. Mira's mother, Vision, if you're seeing this, the sun still hasn't set. But it can. The breath core can reset the cycle. Trust it. Trust yourself. Mira fell to her knees, tears mixing with dust. Kale, you saw her, didn't you? Mira whispers she found it. She found the way. They carried the breath core toward the sun spire, following an ancient path lined with broken towers. But the closer they came, the stronger the light became, like a storm of fire descending from the sky. Kale's sensors began to fail. The radiation's too strong. We can't stay long. They took shelter beneath a collapsed bridge. Mira looked up at the endless golden sky. It's like it's fighting us. Kale, it doesn't want to sleep. The system that made it eternal is trying to survive. Mira, but it's killing everything. Kale, even the brightest things can destroy what they love if they never let go. He turned to her, his hand trembling. Promise me if I don't make it, you'll finish this. Mira, you'll make it. We both will. The sun spire rose like a pillar of glass and flame, piercing the heavens. Its surface glowed with moving symbols, ancient programming written in light itself. At its base, a gateway pulsed. Mira inserted the breath core. The ground shook, and the entire tower came alive. Holographic lines raced upward. The light around them turned white-hot. Kale, the system is rebooting. But it's unstable. It's rejecting the core. Mira screamed over the roar. There has to be a manual override. Kale ran toward the central console. Sparks flew as he tried to stabilize it. Kale. The core needs a living link, someone to bridge it. Mira. What does that mean? Kale. It means one of us must stay connected, forever. Silence. The heat raged like a living sun. Mira looked at him. You can't.
You'll die.
Kale. I've already lived in the dark long enough. It's your world that deserves to breathe. Before she could stop him, Kale placed his hand on the interface. His body began to glow. Kale, smiling faintly, tell your people the light finally learned to rest. And with that, he vanished in a burst of golden fire. The sky shook. The tower dimmed. For the first time in 100 years, the sun began to fade. Mira woke up beneath the stars. Real stars. Tiny silver dots scattered across a dark, endless sky. The air was cool. Soft wind moved through the broken towers. She took a deep breath, her first real breath of night. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Kale, we did it. Far away, the domes of Orion opened. People stepped out, blinking at the strange, beautiful darkness. Children laughed as they saw stars for the first time. Eldrick, old but alive, looked up from his chair and whispered. She brought the night back. Months passed. The planet began to heal. Rain fell again, gentle and cold. Rivers formed where glass had cracked. Plants grew in the ruins. The air carried the scent of soil and life. Mira often sat at the base of a silent sunspire, now dim and peaceful. She wore Kale's pendant around her neck, a small shard of his world. She spoke softly to the wind. You gave us back the night, and in it, we learned to breathe again. The stars above shimmered quietly, listening, as if they had been waiting all along.